I'm Justin Davis, and this is Drone Camps RC. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Camps channel. And if you're watching this video, you're probably watching one of the first honest reviews about the JJRC VTOL and the X450 VTOL. They sort of fly like a multi-rotor in multi-rotor mode. They also have another mode called airplane mode, and it goes straight ahead like an airplane. It will transition with the VTOL tiltable tilt rotor motors in the very front. That's pretty cool. You can also add some FPV on it, which we're going to do in this review. But most importantly, to give back to the community, like I always try to do on the channel, give you guys the honest lowdown on these bind and fly and these ready to fly quads and airplanes and now VTOLs out of China. And the X450 came back looking like this after the first day and now needs repairs after the first two flights. And the JJRC one didn't do much better. It actually has a broken front armature on the left hand side, so now the motor doesn't work at all and the plane will just fly away and crash. And what are the reasons for that? I'm going to talk about that in this video and help you guys out. Also, I'm going to steer you in the right direction to make yours almost unbreakable with much better gear on board. We're going to talk about those. I'm going to put those links down below. I will try to find an affiliate link. It would be great if you guys could throw me a couple dollars my way for giving you guys this honest information. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and let's get out to the field. We'll do a little flying with both of these, and I'll show you the real deal, what the other reviewers seem to be not telling you. Here we go. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start out with the X450. It has 3 flight modes: multi-rotor, airplane, and vertical flight mode, which is kind of cool. And to bind it, you have to push the throttle stick up and back down. You'll see that the blue LED goes solid on your transmitter and sticks down and out to the bottom corners. To arm it, you'll see it go into a low idle mode, immediately hit the throttle or it'll turn itself off. So we're going to go ahead and take off now with the X450. We're in multi-rotor mode and we're going to have some fun with this. We're just going to fly around over the grass right here. When you first get this VTOL, this is the mode that you should practice. Do a whole battery. If you're a brand new person to flying RC and maybe this was somehow your first aircraft, give yourself a half a battery to a full battery in multi-rotor mode and just enjoy this experience. Don't try to put FPV on it yet. Just fly it line of sight and learn it just like this. It is really neat. The LEDs on the bottom I like a lot, and this is also one of the VTOLs out there that actually has a rear motor on it, which will let it fly in multi-rotor mode horizontal, not just a vertical, what they call multi-rotor mode. The vertical mode is a little bit different than what you see here. Vertical, it just goes straight up and down, and it's not a very useful mode, honestly. So now we're going to switch into airplane mode. This is the second position switch down, and this is where it becomes fun, especially if you have an FPV camera on it and some goggles. You can fly this a pretty good distance away. I would say this has a range of about, well over 300 meters. And right here, I'm still in airplane mode, and there's a bit of wind today, actually more wind than you should fly this in. You should fly with 0 wind, but watch this. It flips over, nose down into the grass. Now I'm on grass, broke the nose off the aircraft, which, you know, I can expect that. But look at the left motor, it's bent all the way down. So that's not a good sign. I fixed the nose with a little CA, spray some activator on it, and I think I'm good to go again. So went ahead and put it in multi-rotor mode to take off. Everything looks okay, but it did make a strange noise on the bench, and that worried me that one of the servos was stripped. And sure enough, that left motor couldn't bend forward anymore to be able to give me forward flight. That's unfortunate. So it just kind of flew all the way across the field here, the wind pushing it back. I had no forward momentum at all, and this VTOL is done. So the weakest link in these VTOLs is the plastic servos that they put in them. They are 5-gram plastic servos up front, and when I say plastic servos, I mean plastic gears. They did not put metal gears in either one of these VTOLs, and that is a huge fail for the community. Mainly because, guys, that was my first or second battery on the X450, and it's done. So now we're going to start out with the JJRC, same procedure to bind the remote, get it up in multi-rotor mode. I'm hoping that this one does a little bit better. And now I have the FPV camera up there. That's the miniature Foxier Falcor. A very nice little camera. Does great on those cloudy days. If you're interested in getting into FPV, this would be a really easy way. Keep this VTOL away from the ground, even though it has tons of control, and it will not let you flip it or roll it unless you press the 6G button, 6G, 3G button on this. I believe it's the red button, but it wasn't working for me for some reason. And I tested vertical mode also, and I just think that's kind of a, you see right there, it's just not letting me roll it at all or flip it, so that's kind of cool. Not as much authority on the forward momentum as the side-to-side lateral momentum. And there's the yaw for you. And honestly, guys, the X450 and the JJRC M02, they both fly very similar, almost exactly the same. And now I'm going to go ahead and do some forward flight, still in multi-rotor mode. I'm going to get it up a little bit higher and try to put it in airplane mode. So we're going to go ahead and switch that. And now I'm in airplane mode. You can see it kind of twitch. It'll twitch on you, and actually you'll hear the RPMs on the motors go way down. And you conserve a lot of battery, because when you're in multi-rotor mode, it requires quite a bit more battery, and it's drawing more amps from the battery. So you're gonna see your voltage drop dramatically. Now we're gonna switch over to the camera, and I'm gonna show you a strange phenomenon that happened right here. It just kind of rolled over to the left here on me and bam, into the ground. And that motor took the brunt of the crash, because these motors sit up front. And this is why you need metal gear servos on this VTOL. It's ridiculous to me that they put plastic geared servos on this thing. They're just, with all that force, they're just like glass. It reminds me of the old school Blade, I believe it was a 450 helicopter that came out maybe 12 years ago. All plastic servos in the head. Every time the heli blades touched the ground, they would break. Same instance here, except even more force, because you have a very tight brushless motor right there, just cranking. So now I decided to get a little more adventurous with the JJRC M02 and fly between some trees and some gaps, and sort of fly it in multi-rotor mode and do some of the things that I would traditionally do with the multi-rotor, which is actually a lot of fun. You can do it also in airplane mode, but we're going to go up high in airplane mode because I'm scared to touch anything with this VTOL. I'm afraid that if I do, it will never work again. But here's the good news about this. I have put a link down below for you guys, and we're going to talk about those at the very end of this video as well, for the Metal Gear servos that I found. It took me hours to find them for you guys. I had to look around for 5-gram Metal Gear servos forever on Google, and I eventually found them on the Banggood website, which is kind of funny because I was looking everywhere else on the internet for them. And the folks in the hobby shop were no help. I stopped by a local hobby shop to pick up some servos. I was prepared to pay that Spectrum servo price just to get one of these working again, because it is really worth the upgrade. I was prepared to pay, you know, $30 for 2 or $30 for 1 or something at the hobby shop, but they seem to not even know what a 9-gram servo was. Yeah, they only knew parts by stock number. They didn't know parts by specs. But everybody knows that a 9-gram servo is pretty much the go-to servo in about 80% of bind and fly little park flyer type airplanes out there. Very strange they didn't know what that was, but anyway, I guess they're more of a car shop or whatever. Now I'm back into multi-rotor mode, and this is so cool, guys, that you can stop from airplane flying and just look around. The sun finally came out a little bit, and it's coming out even more. So cool to just stop and look at the scenery and see that voltage dip down at the middle of the screen, 10.8 volt. Now watch what happens when I flip back into airplane mode. The voltage will dramatically increase by about 4 volts there, or It's not 4 volts. Partial volt. Now 10.9, getting lower, but you know, I was able to squeak around 9.5 to 9 minutes out of this battery. And that's the stock 3S 1000 milliamp battery. That's pretty good on a cold day, because today it was raining, it was snowing, and I waited out the weather, and finally it looked like this for about 35 minutes. And then it looked like this for about 10 minutes, which was great. The sun is full out. The clouds are about to cover it up again, but we're gonna stop in multi-rotor mode and just check it out. The Fox Sierra Falcor mini camera looks beautiful. On a nice sunny day, this is a great camera. Now back into airplane mode, because right now I want to conserve my voltage. I want to see how much battery I can, or how much time I can fly out of this battery. And now we're at 7-8 minutes back into multi-rotor mode. I decided to maybe come in for a landing, but I think I'm going to go back up here in a minute. And yeah, let's go do one more gap here. Went to fly around my van and in between this tree and this light pole. You guys will see me power loop those trees. I did a line of sight video power loop as well. You guys should go check out if you haven't seen that. But that's the big deal with these, is the weakest link is the servos. And let's talk about where to get those servos now. Let's go back to the studio. All right, guys, welcome back from the flight test. So both of these failed. And my suggestion to you, honestly, is to buy Metal Gear servos. If you decide to buy the X450 here or the JJRC M02, get yourself the PTK. I'm going to pull it up on the screen right here. They're called Protronic PTK 7350 MG 5-gram Metal Gear servos. Those are the ones that need to be on both of these VTOLs to make them last more than one flight. If you have plastic gears on these things with such heavy torque and power, and the slightest crash in the grass is going to end this VTOL's day. And what you're going to need to do is, I already opened up the X450 here, and you can see underneath the servos wires come out across the wing. You're going to need to snip those off, and you're going to need to solder them up to the new servo wire. And the reason is because they have different connectors inside here. They have little tiny JST connectors on the flight controller right here that your new servo is going to need to go to. So 3 wires to solder on each motor, and you should be good to go on your VTOL. Otherwise, you're going to have probably a failure out on your first day. And I think that's kind of a shame that I haven't seen anyone talk about that yet on the reviews of both of these VTOLs. So hopefully this information helps the community and helps keep you guys in the air. As always, guys, I'm Justin Davis. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.